dude seemed like he had something going, man. And I'm looking at his music or whatever, and I wasn't too familiar with him, man. Even though he had that BBG on his name, I still wasn't that familiar with him. And that's because he comes from none other than the city of Shreveport. He's not actually from Baton Rouge. Now, it's an interesting story that led up to his untimely demise, I hate to say, man. And the news is reporting a couple of things, and then on the fan pages and things like that, they're saying something totally different, man. There's a lot of people saying there was a lot of foul play involved, but it seems from the news report that everything's more clear cut than what people are saying. Now, before we get into the specifics though, man, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Now that we got that out of the way, there's a rapper from Shreveport, Louisiana by the name of Blue Bengi Kobe. Now, dude was an aspiring artist, and he seemed like he had something going for the city of Shreveport, man. Shreveport is not as well known in the rap game as, say, Baton Rouge is. For some reason, for Baton Rouge to be so small, it contributes a lot of hip-hop artists to the rap game that go on to do phenomenal numbers and have phenomenal feats, man. Those being Kevin Gates, Lil Boosie, NBA Youngboy, Fredo Bang, man. There's a lot of cats, man, that are just doing big out of BR. Shreveport, not as much. But Blue Bengi Kobe, man, seemed like he was on his way. And dude had a nice little run at it on YouTube, man. If you look at a lot of his videos, man, they've got over 100,000 views. He's just was on his way, man. He had sat down and did interviews with most of the major hip-hop outlets that you see on YouTube, man, who do interviews. I think the only person I didn't see is the biggest platform we know, and then everybody else, he had already touched the couch, man. So dude was already setting everything up. And then, man, disaster struck yesterday, man. So yesterday, like early time, man, around the morning, there was a situation where there was a shooting. Now, in the earliest reports, they didn't know if the two people were going to make it, because two people who were the victims of the shooting were actually escorted off to the hospital. Now, I can articulate it as well as the news, so let me go ahead and play you guys the news clip. And once you're done looking at this news clip, and come on back for my commentary afterwards.
Two people in the hospital right now after a shooting in Shreveport around 2 this afternoon. Take a look at some video from where it happened, the intersection of Pines and West 70th Street. You can see the broken window on the back of a car. Police say two people were in that car when they were confronted by others who were walking by. They began to argue and shots were fired. Two victims were taken to LSU Oshner right now. Investigators say they're still trying to determine who fired the shots.
Yeah, we're still under the investigation stages, so we're going to try to review some of the video and get some more information on this so we can find out if we have two suspects at the hospital or two victims at the hospital or one of each.
Captain Bartlett says they are still talking with witnesses and looking at video to get more information on the shooting.
So as you heard there in the news source there from ABC, the local source there in Shreveport, that there was an altercation and it resulted in two people being shot. Now, the crazy part about it is, man, there are pictures of the aftermath of the shooting that are floating around online. Now, I'm not going to share any of that, man, because that's crazy, man. I don't know who, I don't get it, man. I don't get why people share that. But there are definitely pictures of, you can see the fallout after the shooting. And there's also a videotape of the EMTs trying to save Blue Bengi Kobe's life, man. And sad situation, man, because it shows you in that moment, man, how serious all this stuff is. Now, I don't know if he had any type of rap beef because I'm not familiar with his ops. I know he had BBG chain and he was BBG affiliated, but I saw he also did songs with Fredo Bang. So I'm not sure if that line was as clear in Shreveport as it is in Baton Rouge. But I do know for one thing's for certain, man, that altercation led to a shooting, and the shooting led to him losing his life, man. So the reports came out and they dropped his name just a couple hours ago, and it said this. It said, according to the Caddo Parish Coroner's Office, 24-year-old Jacoby Kente Ware was shot several times around 2 p.m. at the 700 block of Pines Road. Now, that's the same location from the earlier report where they talked about there were two victims, and they go on to say that Ware was taken to Oshner LSU Health where he died from his wounds at 3 p.m. So just a short hour later, he died from his gunshot wounds. Now, the Shreveport Police Department positively identified Ware through fingerprint comparison and photo ID. And if you look online, you can also see his mugshot, and that
Look, you've got a bunch of bags and Lambos telling you it's easy to start an online business.
shows you exactly who he is, and you can see the comparisons to his video and his site, and you can see on his social media page. His social media pages, like his IG, have all been blocked out now, man. They've been, taken down, not taken down, excuse me, but gone dark. So that way there's no comments, there's no new posts or anything. And it'll still stop all the jerks from like commenting like all sorts of hate, because for some reason we got this thing going on right now in hip hop where if someone passes away from a shooting, people will get in the comment sections and say negative stuff about them, man, especially if they're from the op side or they're fans of their ops or whatnot. They'll go in there and just comment all sorts of craziness and say some wild stuff that, man, nobody would say to anybody's face or to their family's face. So I applaud when people do that, man. They just shut down the page of a family member who's, met their untimely demise like this, man. Now, I'm not too sure of the fallout from this in the music world and how his connections in the music world or what he had moving is going to be affected, because he definitely was on his grind and serious about his craft as being an artist, man. It looks like he donated a lot of time to making sure that he put out quality products as far as his videos and stuff like that, and